I've been seeing a lot of like inspirational stuff on my social media feeds, and something I've seen a few times in the last couple weeks is the speaker. I'm not sure who he is, older white guy, but he ends one of his speeches with, and my final question to you is, why not you? And I know it's just supposed to be inspirational, not, it's kind of, that phrase has as much meaning as you put into it, but if I'm going to think about my life, right, let's say I do want to be like a Joe Rogan, right? That would be the dream. I could talk to whoever I want every day, just get smarter, learn from people, get different perspectives, right? That would be the dream for me. So let's just logically go through this. Why not me? What's standing in my way of being the next Joe Rogan? Well, I got a notepad here. Why not? I'll take some notes, all right? An audience. I need an audience. I need a lot of people to listen to me to make money. Somehow I need. Well, really, the only thing stopping me is money. If I had money, I could buy guests. I could pay to advertise my show. Whatever. I mean, the only difference between me and Joe Rogan is an audience and money. Followers and money, pretty much. And obviously, there's a huge differences between me and Joe Rogan personally, but I think I'm more than capable of having conversations that people will learn from. I've become more and more conscious of using language that just allows for being wrong. Like, instead of saying this entirely happened because of this, you can say, well, the main cause of this event was this. Instead of saying, okay, let's say a car crash, right? Some guy runs a red light and hits you, right? As you're turning left, guy runs a red light and hits you. You can say, well, this guy 100% caused the accident. Well, it can't be 100% him because you could have prevented the accident. So even so, in most cases, it's never 100%. In all cases, it's never 100%. Nothing is 100%, I like to say. And, in that situation where a car runs a red light, you could still have prevented this. You could have paid more attention and stopped it. I know you're not supposed to. Legally, this person is supposed to care for themselves, but this is your life you're talking about now. This isn't the legal system. Are you going to risk your life based on trust in the legal system? I mean, but why not you? Why not me? What's stopping me from starting what I want to do? Talking to really intelligent people and recording it. I mean, really, I could just do this. Like if I had if I had a friend over, put some headphones in and just talk. Like, what is stopping me? I don't know. I could have, I have plenty of friends that are really smart that I could have over right now or, tonight. And I would love to have just a super long conversation with them with the goal of being, the goal of the conversation is to learn, A lot of times we have conversations to have fun, to socialize, to, kill some time, enjoy life. But lately, I just want every conversation, I just want to learn as much as I can about everything. And there are people who you think are the same as you in that sense, and you just want to talk to them. And there are plenty of people in my life who I think are like that. And, I got plenty of friends that I could talk to, but again, the thing stopping me from being Joe Rogan, right, is audience and money. And if I want an audience, I think interviewing people that are my friends that nobody else in existence has heard of is probably not the best. Um, let's say I could start with my dad. He's got a PhD in physics. I mean, he's one of, if not the smartest man I've ever met. Like, my dad just knows not just about engineering and physics, but he knows seemingly everything about everything. Um, anything breaks in our house, he fixes it. Anything goes wrong in our house, he fixes it. Any questions we have, Dad knows the answer. Anytime we think we have to ask Google a question, we ask Google a question, and then Dad says, "Well, that's what I said," and we say, "Yeah, well, yeah." So let's see, Joe Rogan. I'm not sure if he started his podcast before or after all the UFC stuff, Maybe he started the podcast first. I'd have to look into it, but come on. I want to be Joe Rogan. I want to talk to the coolest, smartest people. I want to learn from them. How do I make that happen? Kind of like all these inspirational videos I see. They're like, manifest, visualize. I prefer to plan. I like the words. I like visualize things happening, but, visualizing and manifestation sounds more like witchcraft to me. I'd prefer to think of it like planning and mentally planning, mental mapping. I don't know, something like that, but I guess, maybe the word manifestation just has societal doubt engraved in it, but all right, back to the point. If I want to be Joe Rogan, I need guests and an audience. If I want to make money, I need people to see it. So it's like I'd have to advertise, or I'd have to just somehow create an audience, go viral and create an audience. So, all right, audience. Let's just put viewers and money. Right now, it's just viewers and money standing in my way, right? So if I had 1 million followers and money, I could hypothetically email anyone I want. Who would I would want to interview Joe Rogan first. That would be awesome. I'd have Joe Rogan on. So how would I get Joe Rogan on? Or maybe I should email Joe Rogan and say I'd love to come on the podcast. But shit, why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't I email Joe Rogan right now and say, hey, I'd love to come on the podcast. I'm an incredibly smart, well-spoken individual. Don't expect you to believe me, but if you'd like to give me a call and talk to me for 5 minutes, I'm sure you'll learn that I have a lot to offer, and I think we could have a beautiful discussion. And, yeah, I'm probably going to do that after this video now. I'm going to email the JRE Experience and say, hey, I want to be a Joe Rogan. I want to be one of the next Joe Rogans. Have real conversations, just seeking truth, not, This comes back to what I was saying earlier, how sometimes people have conversations just to be social. Like, the purpose of a conversation can vary so much. Like, sometimes people, this isn't the right thing to do in a conversation, but people will make someone feel little, they'll bully someone, belittle someone, and the purpose of that conversation is just to feel morally superior. I think it's kind of like an addiction. People probably get into that, like making other people feel bad. That could be a purpose of communication, not that it's a good one. But, obviously I don't ever want to do that on a podcast. That's just a waste of time to me. Like, I don't care about judgments and other people, what they've done with their lives. I'm more interested in ideas and life. For example, like if we're talking about basketball and we're going to talk about, let's say, Luka Doncic. I've been watching him a lot lately. He's been playing very lazy defense. He thinks he doesn't really have to play defense because he's a good player. And, let's talk about that logically. Like, Luka Doncic is one of the most offensively talented players I've ever seen in terms of playmaking and shot making. And maybe he does have the power to win like a majority of NBA games without playing as much defense, but it's not fun to watch for viewers who want to see everyone going 100% and they want the Mavericks to win every game because Luka just doesn't want to play defense on this individual possession. Right, whatever, but back to the purpose of talking, right? People can have talk for fun, for socialness, but lately I only want to talk just to learn and just to understand how other people think. I've added a lot. I think I've started to value every single human's perspective more and more every single day. Even, when people are crazed, manic, you can still take what they're saying and say, all right, well, they're clearly manic, but they're saying these things. Maybe there is some truth to these things. Let's look into them. And obviously a lot of the time there's not going to be truth to them, but you shouldn't just write it off right away. Right? I think everyone has a voice, and you should at least consider that voice. But, once someone's, spouted nonsense for 10 years straight, then situation changes. But first impressions, anyone I don't know, I'm going to listen to what they have to say. Even on the internet, even hate comments. Like, for example, with hate comments, people will write horrible things, and you'll say, all right, this person's miserable, and they're taking out their anger, but is there truth in what they're saying? Like, someone might say in my comment section, like, God, this guy's just yapping, talking to himself, and he's not saying anything. What is he even talking about? What a loser. And I would just be like, well, maybe there is some truth to that. Maybe I'm using unnecessary words, filler words like and like that I just said that I'm not being as efficient as I could be with my words, and it makes the videos harder to watch. And for that reason, I would like hate comments, I'd want people to tell me what I'm doing wrong. And when you get to that point where you say, well, nobody wants to make other people feel bad because they're a good person. They want to make other people feel bad because they feel bad. And when you start looking at life like that, you can see a lot more truth. And, you know, it's pretty interesting how much reality shifts to your perspective. I've been listening to this guy Michael Talbot speak in this interview, and he's a physicist. He died in the 1970s, I believe. He was about 48, died of leukemia, but he worked with Dr. Bohm, who he called a reformed prodigy of Einstein. And Professor Bohm did work with Einstein. I don't know how much or exactly, but he did work with Einstein. And Professor Bohm had a really good quote, which I actually do not remember the quote, but he said something along the lines of physicists tend to just not believe there's anything past our modern sense of belief, but this guy, Dr. Bohm, said, well, that's just our perspective that makes us say that. Why would we assume there's nothing else beyond our technological reach? And I really like that quote because even when you're at the top of the world, you can still have one of two mindsets. You can say, all right, I already know most of everything, or you can say, I still know nothing. And who do you think is going to get smarter in the end? The person who thinks they know nothing or the person who thinks they already know everything? The person who thinks they know nothing is always going to learn more because they think there's more to learn, and that's just your beliefs shaping reality. And this is why I started talking about Michael Talbot, because he has a book called The Holographic Universe, which I haven't read any of, but I've heard him talk about. And basically, the main idea of this holographic universe is the universe isn't actually a hologram. That's not the point. The point is that the universe can be compared to and more similarly looked at as a hologram. Like our realities, we can imagine as a hologram, and that's kind of an accurate description of reality. And what he argues with this is that our mind, our thoughts, our views, our perspective shapes our reality. And, you know, he gives an example of there's 3 groups of military men. They all run 10 miles. But one group, they tell them that they ran 10 miles. One group, they tell them they rode 20 miles. One group, they said 30 miles. The group that they just told ran 30 miles was physiologically more damaged than the rest. They were way more tired. Their bodies were more broken down. And the 20-mile group as well, more broken down than the 10-mile group. They all ran the same amount. So basically, the different realities in these people's heads affected reality more so than actual reality. So what this guy Talbot says is that perhaps our model of reality in our heads is more real than actual reality. Which, to hear a physicist who's talked to people who've talked to Einstein say something like this is just like mind-boggling to me. I mean, you know, the first time I started listening to this guy, I didn't know exactly what he was talking about, but he just sounded very well-spoken and smart, and the way he spoke really attracted me. And then I watched this, it's like a 27-minute video about the holographic universe and him in this interview. And I've watched that video now like 10 times. It just boggles my mind. And again, there are people who I think talk for fun. There are people who I think talk to waste time, talk to make themselves feel good. But this guy, Michael Talbot, to me, he was talking with intelligence and with a hunger for more knowledge. Like the way he explained things, it sounded like he was almost teaching himself and reaffirming things in his own head rather than trying to feel morally superior or trying to educate. It's like he's trying to teach himself and other people at the same time, which I really respected, and I think that's a really humble point of view to have, you know, even being at the top of a field. I don't know how far to the top of the field this guy was, but he wasn't an idiot, I'll tell you that. He knew physics. He knew what he was talking about, and it's hard to say if this guy was, you know, maybe he did want to feel morally superior. He just wanted to feel like, oh, I know everything and you guys know nothing. It's true. But the way he talked to this interviewer, my computer just turned off. The way he talked to this interviewer just sounded so genuine. And the way he talked about these concepts was just mind-blowing. And I think I get very lost. I get very off track in these videos, but my main point of talking right now was to say, how could I get to Joe Rogan? Well, I've gotten what's in my way. viewers, money. Well, actually, viewers and money is really it. Like, if I had enough money, I could just advertise the podcast and buy viewers to start to get the podcast up. Advertise my shit on social media for some kind of price. But, money isn't the easiest thing to get. I would say viewers are probably easier to get unless I know some kind of money glitch, which I don't. So, viewers are the start. So, I guess I'll just keep doing what I'm doing and talking to myself and hoping that people watch these and learn something from it, maybe follow me and, yeah, maybe leave a comment. Leave a comment right now. And if someone does leave a comment, I'll remember you when I'm Joe Rogan. When I'm Joe Rogan in 5 years. No, I'm sure I'm not going to be Joe Rogan. I'm not sure actually. It's more probable than not that I will not become. It's more probable that I do not become Joe Rogan. Well, obviously I'm not going to become him, but could I be the next Joe Rogan? Yes. Am I going to chase that? Yes. Do I know it might not happen? Yes. Am I still going to do it? Yes. Is there anything I would rather do every single day than wake up and decide who I want to talk to and about what and just learn from the greatest people on the planet? I mean, there is nothing I can't think of, at least right now, I can't think of anything I would rather do than just talk to the world's smartest people and learn from them, gather what they've gathered from reality, and especially talking about things like, ever since I'm almost done with school, I've got some less credits now, so I've started doing a lot of learning on my own, just through the internet, learning about things that I want to learn about, and holy, like, this holographic universe, for example, Michael Talbot, like, is just mind-blowing. Like, we can't prove this guy wrong, we can't prove him right, but the things he says could be true. I mean, they're so plausible to me. Maybe I'll link the video. If anyone wants to know what video I'm talking about with Michael Talbot, leave a comment. I'll link you the video. I can find it but if no one's gonna watch this and care, then I'm not gonna go look for the video. But yeah. I should maybe post these videos in like 1.3 speed or 1.25 speed. I'm sure they would be easily understandable even like that. But yeah, like I said, leave a comment. Leave some hate comments. Tell me what I need to change. I will not be offended. Tell me what's annoying. Tell me what you don't like about this. Be genuine. Tell me what you thought of this video, for real. Tell me some hate. Tell me whatever. I don't care. I want to know some genuine reactions to this.